The information is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented herein for entertainment and educational purposes only. Hi, welcome to the Whole Body Detox Show. I'm your host, David DeHaas, where each week we bring you information on how to heal the body naturally. We're located in Boise, Idaho, where we do a 10-day healing retreat, and are best known for helping people get their health miracle. If you want to know more about that, go to healingtheincurables.com. That's healingtheincurables.com. Or you can reach out to us on the telephone, 208-378-9911. Enjoy today's show. Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, livingwaterscleanse.com, where miracles begin by healing from within. We come back here each week to give you the information to help you heal your body naturally, following the 4 natural laws of healing. If you want to learn about what the 4 natural laws of healing are, go to livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link, 4 Natural Laws of Healing. Webinar, 68 minutes, worth every minute. You'll probably want to watch it a couple of times. Lots of information in that video. And besides, if you're going to come to see us, it's required watching to see that, because when you come to me, I want you to be talking the same language. We talk about healing your body. You need to be on the same page as I am. And so we're a team to help you heal. I don't want to be your guru. I want to teach you to become the healer as you are the healee. And so it's a combination process. But anyway, today's show, I'm so grateful to have special guest, Tim James of chemicalfreebody.com. And also he is the host of the Health Hero Show podcast. Write that down so you can go over and check out Tim's podcast. He's got a lot of great episodes over there. Tim recently gave me a call. He lives in Eastern Oregon, and he says, hey, I want to come do a colonic. I checked you guys out. You look pretty great. And he brought his friend over with him and came to him and did our colonics. And so he's a aficionado of colonics. Would you say, Tim?
Oh, yeah. Been promoting them for 12 years now.
Excellent. So Tim,
that wasn't my first impression of colonics. We'll talk about that later.
All right. Yeah, we got a lot to share. Also, Tim's the first guy that came in here and played me some music. He sang to me, a little Willie Nelson song, one of my favorites, actually. But that was a complete surprise. I loved it because it's a song I've been listening to a lot lately. You know, there's no surprises in the universe when you're living your best life and things just, right. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool how that appeared. So, Tim, tell the audience a little bit about your story.
Awesome, Dave. Well, thanks for having me on the show, and I really appreciate the listeners investing time in their day to listen to your show and me. And my goal, as always, anywhere I speak, is to give people not just the inspiration, but giving them some actionable tools they can do where they can actually go home and take action. So I hope that you get a gold nugget today and you get so excited you actually do something with it, because that's when our lives change. We have to do it ourselves. I spent my whole life just waiting for other people to try to help me with my health issues. And it, as you'll find out, it didn't get me very far. When I took responsibility of my health and my life, that's when everything started realigning for me. And then I end up, playing guitar over in Boise at your clinic because I was doing some maintenance on my colon. So I'm from Eastern Oregon. I grew up on a small cattle and hay farm over here. We did grass and alfalfa hay. Spent a lot of time outdoors. We had a big garden, and my mom and dad are hardworking folks, salt of the earth, working class people, and that's what I was. And I played baseball at a high level and played for about 30 years. So I was an athlete. And what happened was I was on the standard American diet, and that worked fine for a while. But by the time I was 37, I'd moved down to the big city in Portland. Don't tell anybody. And my dad told me, "You're one of them Portland hunters now." It's like teasing me and stuff like that. And I gained a bunch of weight. I gained 42 pounds. I was a financial advisor at the time. I had a wife and kids and house and mortgage, and I was coaching the kids' baseball teams and basketball teams and little football teams and all that kind of stuff. And just really, I was really enjoying my life, but my body was not responding like it used to. I gained the 42 pounds. I started getting tireder, less energy, mental fog. I had a lot of stress at work. We had 3 offices as a financial advisor, and we were serving all these people, and we're very busy practice, 18 employees. And then it got worse. I had to start taking, Tums and Rolaids. 24/7, dude. Like I had such bad acid reflux, and then it got worse, and then I actually started pooping blood. And this went on for 2.5 years. I did go to the doctor multiple times. I got prescribed medications. Half the time I never would fill them, and if I did, I never ate them. It was probably the smartest thing because I look at the side effects on them. I'm like, well, I got this problem. At least I know what I got. And there's like 40 things that could happen to me. Actually, the one was really weird. Was like one of the side effects was rectal bleeding, and like that was my problem. Like, why would I take something that would give me the same problem I have? Like this stuff makes no sense to me. So I don't know if I was stubborn or what. That was one good choice I made. But I obviously didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was eating healthy, but obviously I wasn't. You're not. If you're eating healthy for a human being, then you won't be bleeding when you poop. And let me tell you what, man, this was not like fun stuff either. It was like not just the worry when blood comes out when you poop, but it was painful. On a scale of 1 to 10, going number 2 was about a 6 or a 7 on the pain scale. So I started developing a lot of anxiety around it because when I get the urge to poop, it was like, oh God. Because it was going to be a painful experience followed by blood. So this goes on for like 2.5 years, and I got eczema on both my elbows. I have a huge patch of eczema on my knee. I had another skin issue developing, which, as you know now, and most of your listeners, that means I had gut issues. If you have skin issues, you have gut issues. I learned that a long time ago. And then I was on a vacation with my wife and her dad. Now, her dad was a medical doctor, and he was running one of the largest clinics in Lima, Peru. That's where I met her. I had another business. I was down there doing some stuff. I was importing stone countertops and stuff. I had a wholesale business, but that's how I met my ex-wife. And basically, we planned this trip out, and it was like thousands of dollars. It was a big deal. And so we flew into Lima, and then we flew up north to a place called Tumbes, which is just south of Ecuador. Beautiful, unbelievable. I mean, just beautiful beach. The seashells, literally, David, on the beach looked like they should have been in the Smithsonian. I mean, just gorgeous. Like there was like 9 villas, and it was super private and very, very remote. Okay, very remote. Now that was great. We were having the time of our life. Her dad took his first vacation in over 30 years of being a medical doctor. He'd never. He was one of the top medical doctors. He was helping like the El Presidente and everybody, like he was at those meetings and stuff. And so, we're just having a great time. And all of a sudden I just didn't start feeling good. We went fishing, deep sea fishing, and I was getting sick. And they were like, "Oh, you got motion sickness or whatever out here." And I'm like, "No, I've been hunting and fishing my whole life. I've been out to sea multiple times. I don't get sick." And they kept saying, "No, it's just motion sickness." I'm like, "No, it's not." So we got home, and her dad, being a doctor, he's like, "Oh God, it's not getting better." So he diagnosed me. He's like, "Oh, appendicitis." And it's like, he's like, "We have to get you to the hospital now or you could die." So we went to the airport to get out of there, and I missed the plane flight by like 20 minutes. And there's only one plane flight a day every 24 hours out of this place. And it's in and out, one little plane. And he's like, "We can't wait or you could die." So he rented a van, and we drove 6 hours down this bumpy ass road to a town called Piora down the coastline. Now, imagine here I am bent over at a 90-degree angle, walking like a 100-year-old person with a bad back, because it was too much pain to walk erect. I couldn't do it. And that road was so bumpy. Every bump was like somebody was jabbing me with a knife. Oh, and wow. So by the time 6 hours of this, my wife kind of held me and just bump, 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 boom, boom, bam, bam, just all the way there. When I got there, I was completely soaked in sweat. My paper money in my wallet was wet. That's how much I'd sweated. I was so much pain. I was freaking exhausted and scared because like I could die and boom, it could, what are they going to do? I'm in the middle of nowhere. So I go into this hospital. It looked like it was out of the 1950s. And I go into the examination room, and there's literally bugs flying around in the lamp above me. I'm in the hospital. And so her dad was on the phone getting the OR ready at his clinic. He didn't want them to operate on me, so he had them dope me up. And he life flighted me on a commercial airline. He bought immediate tickets, and we got the next flight to Peru. And I don't remember, it was all a blur for me, but we hopped in this little taxi called a Tico. It was the size of a Tic Tac. And all our baggage was on top of it. We're more bumpy roads, but I was all super doped up. They put a bunch of stuff in my IV and gave me some pills, and I don't even know what it was, but I was out of it. And you're not supposed to do this. Like, my appendix could have burst at any time, and I'm on a commercial flight just sitting there and nobody knows, like I could just, go. And so I got off the plane, taxi right to the hospital. And literally when I got out of the hospital, a whole team of nurses and people grabbed me and throw me into a gurney, and I went right into surgery. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where Western medicine shines, because Western medicine was born out of crisis care in wartime.
We're going to be talking today with Tim James. If you missed the first part of the show, this is a nail biter. We got to find out what the conclusion is. You need to go listen to the podcast, wholebodydetoxshow.com, episode, I think, 128, to Tim's story. So, Tim, you've been sharing with us your appendix is about ready to explode. You've taken this bumpy road, and you are in like knives. You feel like knife is being stuck in your gut all the way there.
Oh, yeah. And I had about 12 doctors diagnose me. Every time they do it, it's a very painful experience. So,
oh my goodness.
Anyway, so I get there, and I was just kind of explaining Western medicine. It's like it was because I was going into a hospital, and they saved my life. So
right.
And here I was pissed because I've been paying into health insurance my whole life, and they didn't want my health insurance because it wasn't applicable in Peru. I was from the States, so I'm like, this sucks. So they do the surgery. Actually the owner of the clinic, who was one of the surgeons there, did it, and another surgeon was a woman. And so I literally bought her a box of chocolates and bought him a bottle of whiskey, and I was good to go. That's how I got out of it, because her dad was the top doc at the clinic, and he was also running it. So I actually got free meds given to me, because the people that were supplying meds to them wanted to impress him, like, oh, your son-in-law, we would like to give you free all the stuff, and the antibiotics. And so I basically got it for whiskey and chocolate. It was a pretty good deal for a surgery.
That is pretty amazing.
I know, it's pretty cool. That's the way it should be. And barter and trade, why not? Save my life, and I'll get you some chocolate and some whiskey. So I basically, what happened was I went right into surgery, and they put that mask over my face. I'm like, I went down for fun and vacation. I thought I was going to be, like just out on the beach and making love to my wife, and, and doing all this stuff and fishing and sunset walks and romantic. And here I am, like, beep, beep. And this thing goes over my mouth, and it's like, and I'm out. Next thing I know, I wake up, and it's the next day, and I'm in my room in recovery, and I'm just laying there, and I had to listen to all the street noise, beep, 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 and these people selling chiclets and all kinds of stuff down there, and they have these things selling ice cream, and I spent the rest of my vacation in the hospital. And then my wife had to actually, I wasn't completely recovered yet, so she had to wheelchair me back through the airports back into the States until I completed my healing. But what I learned from that lesson, David, was, number one, man, I don't ever want to get surgery again. I don't want to go in there. It was scary. What if the surgeon had a bad day? What if his dog died or something like that, or his husband or something had a bad deal? So, and the second thing that I learned was that my poor health doesn't affect just me. It affects everybody else around me, because I ruined the vacation for my wife and her dad. And it was really unfortunate, because here's a guy that had been working in a hospital 24/7 for over 30 years, never took a vacation. He gets 3-4 days of vacation. Where's he at? Back in the hospital taking care of me, because I did not learn how to take care of myself. I had gotten derailed by society and my parents. My parents were derailed by society and their parents. So I didn't know what to do. I'm still like, I bought all kinds of books, like 5 meals a day, and I tried that, and I tried juicing, but I was juicing a bunch of sugar and stuff, carrots and beets and stuff like that. Not that those are bad, but when you just do all that, it's not that great. I didn't lose any weight. I just say I tried a lot of stuff: high fat, low fat, high carb, low carb, high protein, low. I mean, I've tried to jumble them up, and kind of got some results here and there, but always ended up back worse. And that's where I was. Right. So it wasn't until my friend Charles got diagnosed with cancer. And before that, I actually lost a good buddy on my baseball team to stomach cancer. He did chemo and surgery and all that stuff, and he passed away with 3 little boys from ages 6 to 17. His name was Kalei Mahoy. Rest in peace, brother. And so now my buddy Charles, at age 43, gets diagnosed with cancer. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to lose another friend. So my experience with cancer was, you get it and you're toast. My grandma died of glioblastoma, brain cancer. My aunt died of melanoma, skin cancer that spread to her lungs, and she was in pain, bro. Serious pain. My mom's an angel. She took care of her in those hospice days, and up till that, unbelievable what people have to go through. And almost everybody's going to have to do this nowadays with cancer rates skyrocketing. You're going to be either having it or taking care of somebody with it. In fact, so I was going to throw some statistics out there, but I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, by the year 2040, 68 to 72% of us will have cancer if we stay on current trends. So it'll be as common as catching a cold. So if you've caught a cold before, that's about as statistically chance you're going to have cancer. Only if you continue down the same path. You can make some changes. That's stuff that David's sharing with you, and then hopefully I can impart to you today. We want you to give you the information because we know you're smart. We know the working class is smart, and you'll if you have the right information, you will make the right decisions. So now my friend gets
a very good point, Tim.
Yeah.
I mean, you ruined a vacation. I talked about this on the show last week. Is that it's not just about life. You drinking, smoking, eating all the wrong foods. And today's population, is ballooned up. They're just totally swollen, lots of inflammation, but you cause a burden and to your family who has to take care of you. And if you're single or you don't have any kids, who's going to take care of you when you're sick?
The state. And guess what they might have planned for you?
Yeah,
not much.
Not good.
There's attorney commercials going right now on the television. If you have a loved one in a state-run nursing home, you may be entitled to compensation. We will find out what they did to them or how they're treating them. So if there's attorneys paying thousands of dollars to get ads to basically get these cases so they can make 30 or 40% of millions of dollars of settlements because the state system is so broken, it happens all the time where your parents are just laid there, they're in their own urine, their own feces. They're not turning them over. They're just doping them up on a bunch of meds, and it's really a sad state. So it's self-evident based on those attorney commercials that system is another. And I'll show you it's broken later. But so we go to Hippocrates Wellness Center. My friend wanted to go there to try to heal naturally because they didn't really have anything for his cancer. And I said, he asked me if I'd go with him. I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever you need. And remember, I don't know anything. I'm like, I know nothing about health, obviously, because I'm a mess. I'm overweight. I'm tired. I'm bleeding. Elbows are cracking and bleeding. My pooping blood. Organs are getting removed. I think I know it, but I don't because the results speak so loudly. It doesn't matter what I said. So we went to Hippocrates January 1st, 2011. We flew in there, and that's when the detoxing began. Now, the first class that changed my life was called Internal Awareness, and this is when the light bulb went off for me, and I hope the light bulb goes off for your listeners, especially if they've been listening to you for a while. And they're like, oh, I don't think about that colon hydrotherapy. I ain't doing that, because that was my attitude. So this doctor comes out, and he's buff. His name's Dr. Scott Josephson, and this guy looked good. And it was his 50th birthday, and I was like, you're 50? I mean, he looked like he was maybe 40. He looked fantastic. It was kind of the theme there. The people have been working at that institute for like 10, 20 years. They look 10, 20 years younger than people their age. They just look fantastic. Their skin, they look youthful and young, and they were fit. And he said, look, the average person has 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material in the colon. And he's like, this is disease-causing sludge. You have to get this out. This creates a horrible terrain or environment for bad things to grow, like viruses and bacteria and mold and yeast and fungus and mutagens and cancer and parasites and all this stuff. So it's like a polar bear. Polar bears don't live in West Palm Beach, Florida. They live in the Arctic. That's their terrain. That's the environment they thrive in. If you dropped them off on Miami Beach, they're going to hop in the ocean and get the heck out of there. They're going to swim. They're going to go to their environment. And that's why we saw when people started changing their internal environment and cleaning out their digestive tract and their gut and getting a very high alkaline, fresh living food diet, parasites started literally exiting all places, right? And the doctor was like, look, parasites are not just like some third world affair. He said easily over 50% of you will physically see them exiting out of the stool. And he goes, I'm not just talking about these hookworms and pinworms and tapeworms that you'll visibly see. There's other ones that are microscopic. They're smaller. And he goes, all of them are eating your food and they're drinking your drinks. They're urinating and defecating in you. They're having sex and laying thousands of eggs in you. And I'm like, what? And so I'm like, he's flipping my mind out. And he was trying to sell us on doing colon hydrotherapy. And he kind of explained it. And I elbowed Charlie. I said, look, dude, I came here to help you, but I'm not doing that deal. There was no way I was going to do it. It just sounded weird and always touching me. And then he was smart, though, David. He's played 4 videos of people, 3 that were unhealthy, that had health issues, and 1 that had been on this Hippocrates living food program for a while, cleaned themselves up and done colonics and colon hydrotherapy, all that. The first one was a 24-year-old male or female with Hashimoto's and thrush. She had a yeast infection. You got to take a break?
We got to take a break, Tim. You've been listening, folks, to Tim James of Chemical Free Body. Fascinating story. But as you mentioned, you want to learn what colon hydrotherapy is. It'll change your life. Over at the website, livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on treatments. Watch the 10-minute video. And then also watch the 4 Natural Laws of Healing video there as well, because you'll learn how to clean all this out. We'll show you pictures of parasites. We'll be back, and Tim's going to tell us the rest of the story. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You've been listening to the Whole Body Detox Show.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.
Welcome back. David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, livingwaterscleanse.com, where miracles begin by healing from within. And if you've missed any parts of this show, you're just joining us, you've missed a lot of great information. You want to join us on the podcast, wholebodydetoxshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast. But we've been talking to Tim James, and we're talking about his story and how he discovered colon hydrotherapy and how he became what he's doing today, deep into the health field with his chemicalfreebody.com site. So check him out over there. Also, he has a podcast called, what's it called?
Health Hero Show.
Health Hero Show. So, Tim, okay, you mentioned this guy was smart. He showed you 4 videos. The first one was a 24-year-old.
Yeah. So Dr. Josephine shows us these videos of unhealthy people and a healthy person. The first one, again, was a 24-year-old woman with Hashimoto's, and she had thrush, which is a yeast infection. Now, when you do a colonoscopy, when you go in a camera in somebody's colon, you expect to see brown stuff. Okay. Everybody would kind of think that's what they're going to see. Inside this woman, it was white and yellow. She had so much yeast overgrowth.
Oh, yeah.
Then they went to a 65-year-old male with colon cancer and parasites. And inside of his colon was black as midnight. It was black like tar with little white worms crawling around. And that's when I was like, oh, God. And then it was like the 45-year-old female with breast cancer. And it was like black tar, a little bit of brown stuff. And my point was, it was just disgusting. And then they showed the healthy person. Now there was brown waste matter in there, but you could see the lining of her colon was all pink and clean. You could actually see the villi in there, those hair-like structures. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head, and I got it. I'm like, this is an inside game. It's the terrain. It's their engine is all gummed up. It's like a tractor, like growing up on the farm, or an engine in your pickup of your car. If your car's not running right and the check engine light's going off, you don't just keep driving it. Because if you do, it's going to break down and leave you stranded, your body breaking down, you die or whatever. Or you put it off, and then there's going to be a much bigger repair bill because you didn't take it in right out of the gate. And us humans, we get very tolerable things. And we have all these check body lights going off. Like, I was overweight. I had skin issues. I was pooping blood. I had acid reflux. All of these were not sleeping well, night sweats. All of these things were check body lights. My body was telling me, dude, you need to change your lifestyle. You need to change the environment, the air, the water, anything, the food, the clothing, everything needs to be changed because the environment that you've created is killing us. And they were talking to me. That's my body talking to me. So I'm just like, I that's when I signed up for colon hydrotherapy. I went in the next day. They weighed me. I did it for an hour. And just in case, I mean, if anybody's new here and you don't know what colon hydrotherapy is, you're basically settling a tube rectally, and water just gently goes in and out of your colon and cleans it out. You basically just go to the bathroom for an hour, and it just scrubs it up and cleans it up gently. That's all it is. It's just water. It's not a big deal. And so I did it, and an hour later, they weighed me. I dropped 11 pounds of impacted, disease-causing funk and gunk and junk that was lining my colon. And I felt a lot better. And from that point on, I started, and actually I saw some of those parasites. One lady at lunch had a parasite crawling out of her eye. Other people had parasites crawling out of their skin. So I just say that because I saw it and it was very shocking. And
it happens.
It incentivized me more to I really need to take care of myself because I've been eating crappy my whole life. I learned what was going on at that
How
place.
many sessions did you do, Tim? How many tips did you do?
Well, I just did one while I was there. You could have bought another one, but I was,
You had 11 pounds in one session?
Yeah. Actually, the record at the Institute, because they've done over 700,000 of them at the Institute. The record was a woman. This was back in 2011. So if anybody listening has broken the record, please let me know. But they weighed her before and after, and she dropped 27 pounds of impacted fecal material in one colon hydrotherapy session. Think about that.
Holy moly.
It's like a medium-sized dog falling out of your butt. That is a lot of waste, and there's no way that could be good. There's no way that could be.
It's like you just jettisoned a turkey.
Yeah. Think about that. The whole thing, the whole turkey. So after a few days, I had night sweats. I was irritable because I went from fast food, fried food, processed food, crap, ice cream, cake, candies, pop, steak, to living food diet, sprouted nuts, seeds, grains, beans, juices, green juices, wheatgrass, water, lemon water, all this stuff, and colon hydrotherapy. And all of a sudden I woke up on Thursday after about 4 or 5 days in this, I felt like I was reborn. I felt like I was 18 again, literally. Wow. And I looked at Charles and I was like, dude, you feel as good as I do. And my arms are tingling with energy. My mental clarity's back. I feel like I'm 18. I was like, dude, you're going to live. I'm like, we got this. I said, I can't believe. Now, this is the guy that was hunting and fishing. And my motto was, it flies, it dies, it's brown, it's down. And we were shooting chuckers and pheasants and geese and ducks and deer and elk and everything and squirrels. It didn't matter. That's what I grew up. I said, I'm going to give up all meat except for bacon. And we're going to go back home and I'm going to do all this juicing with you and you're going to heal, buddy. Because I just lost my friend, man. And it's and I've seen people go through this cancer thing and it's just not fun and it's unnecessary. So we got back, we got to work, and within 60 days, man, my 42 pounds was gone. The skin issues on my elbows were gone. The skin issue on my shoulder was gone.
You just said you lost 42 pounds in 60 days.
Yeah, I did. 42 pounds. It just
absolutely amazing. We do see on average here on our 10-day retreat, people on average lose 10 to 15 pounds.
Oh yeah.
I've had people lose 30 pounds as well.
I actually gave up the bacon too. I was actually plant-based for 8.5 years. Now it's very, very small percent. I would say I'm probably 98%, plant-based. But the point is I'm not. If there's any meat eaters out there going, oh, I can't do that, because dude, nobody ate more meat than me. I kept 5 freezers full. I literally fed the baseball team. Like it's not about that. You got to find out what works for you, and maybe you need to be at 20%, meat or 10 or 20 or 50 or whatever. You got to go up the ladder and back and down until you figure out what it is. So I don't get into these camps. It's like you got to do what works for you. That's the bottom line.
Exactly. We like to follow Eat Right for your blood type, and we found over the years that's worked really, really well. But again, you guys will be.
Are you talking about Dr. Diadamo?
I think that's what that book. Yeah.
So anyway, so we the whole point, dude, is I completely healed myself. 8 months later, that huge patch of eczema was gone. I'll be turning 50 in a couple of weeks, dude. I feel like I'm 18. But the best part of the story was my buddy Charles. Yeah, my buddy Charles actually reversed his cancer completely in 2.5 years. And right before he was completely healed, we ran the Portland Marathon together, his idea. And it was kind of an epic moment, crossing the finish line. Even before he was training a year before his cancer was completely leveled off. So he healed himself. He got to see his son graduate high school and go to father-son weekend at Oregon State University. His son graduated, became a real estate agent, and sold Charles's home that he currently has. So he was able to heal himself right in front of my face. And I started telling everybody about this. I've had over 5,500 people to my home and these detox, nutrition, living food, juicing classes. And we make food together and break bread. But it ain't the bread you think you're eating. It's different. And then I started chemicalfreebody.com. And I got Dr. Scott Treadway, who's a former Marine, and he's also a master herbalist in Indian herbology, Chinese herbology, and Western herbology. And he makes our formulas, and we just help people detox and do this stuff at home. And we also become our coaching program. We help people. We're like like a general contractor. So if somebody wants to get healthy, we're like, okay, you need to get a colon hydrotherapist. Okay, you need to get a massage therapist. Okay, you need to get a biological dentist. And we help them build their team in their local area, and then we coach them on the side as well. And it's worked out well. We've helped thousands of people now. I've got 9 amazing coaches, and we just keep growing.
That's awesome. And especially you mentioned the dentistry. just had a gal back in. She did our 10-day retreat last November, and she came in. She had parasites, and this is a show. I think you go back to somewhere around 108, 109, someone there. The lady with the parasites in her head, and the doctors told her, "Nah, you probably need some. You probably need some depression medication. You need some anxiety medication. You're overthinking this. You don't have parasites to me." But she literally did. I mean, she came to me with a jar of parasites, and we go, "Yeah, those are parasites." Between that and fungus, and what did she have? She had several root canals, and those are super toxic.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So it's important to address everything in your body. You got to look at what's happening there in your teeth. That's a big factor, and approach it from that standpoint. You got to learn about that. I've been listening. We've been talking to with my special guest Tim James, who we just met just recently. Came from Eastern Oregon, used our services, and we hit it off. And he's got a great company called Chemical Free Body, and he's also host of the Health Hero Show podcast. Check both of those out. Tim is a wealth of knowledge, and it's just so I'm so grateful to have people like you out there, because we've got to change. Our sick care system is not sustainable, and obviously what you experienced from going from having an organ taken out, ruining a vacation, bleeding bowels, psoriasis, all this stuff, and now switching that around and now teaching others. That's really, hats off to you. Thanks for doing that. Because we got to change the world, because our thinking's changed because of all these chemicals in the food supply.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about, what you're doing and
Well, the first thing I want to say is, like, let's just, because people are like, everybody's so, we become indoctrinated, right?
So true.
Like, if you're a boy, you wear blue. If you're a girl, you wear pink. If you're a Christian, you're a Jew, you're a Muslim. It just kind of depends on how you were raised. It's how you were indoctrinated. And we're also indoctrinated, like going to the grocery store and eating certain things. And I was eating chicken strips and JoJo's and ranch dressing. And I thought there was somebody like protecting me and making sure there wasn't toxic stuff. I wouldn't even think there was toxins in the food or cancer causing agents. And the bottom line is nobody can argue with this. Okay. We're redoing our ebooks and right now. And I was going through, and just not too long ago, an ebook that I did, it said the cost of healthcare was 3.3 trillion annually. I said, hey, we have to change that. It's 4.3 trillion now. It's went up $1 trillion since I got started doing this stuff less than 8 years ago. And, and I'm just like, it's went up another $1 trillion. So here's the deal. The United States spends $4.3 trillion. It's almost double all the next closest country, right? In health care, if you want to call that. Sick care. That's what it really is, sick care. But if you look at the life expectancy chart, back in the 1980s, the United States was matching growth and longevity, life expectancy with all the other industrialized nations. And then about 1984, it kind of started tapering off. And then about 2014 started going flat and down. And then now it's plummeting. So what does this mean? What this means is empirically that the healthcare system is flat broken, and the people responsible before it should be fired. The politicians writing the policies, the people that are doing this stuff, the celebrities, the media that's pushing this stuff and the commercials and all this stuff, they've actually failed us. Because what I'm getting at right now is that if you're listening to this and you have children or grandchildren, they are going to die, first time ever, younger than you. And you've signed on for that. That's what's going on. So we spend more and we're dying sooner. So does it make sense to keep spending money in that model to kill your kids? It doesn't. So this is where self-responsibility comes and self-respect and breaking out of the matrix, for God's sakes. It's not working. It's so clear. It's like the biggest elephant in the room you could possibly see. But a lot of people are not, oh, I gotta go listen to this person over here. And because they talk over my head, make me feel small. So I must listen to them because they must know something more than me. No, everybody here on this podcast listening, including myself, before I knew all this stuff, we instinctively knew what to do. All other animals do in nature, how to heal themselves. I mean, horses, when they get sick, they go out and eat different herbs and stuff. Humans have actually followed them around, found out what they ate, made up concoctions, and helped other people heal the cancers and stuff. And it's like, why is that so outlandish? Why is this so outlandish to think that you're from nature? Your body's mostly made of water. Where'd you find that? Nature, lakes, ponds, rivers, streams. You got gut bacteria, same bacteria in the soil. Another proof that you're from nature, right? Minerals. What are your bones made out of? Minerals. You're from nature. So if you're from nature, why wouldn't the solution come from the source that you came from? Why does it have to come from a lab? Where all they're doing is they're taking, like, most of this stuff is they're taking, David, they're taking crude oil, which is primarily from algae, and they're synthesizing it in a lab, and they're changing the electrical power of it, and it makes it a synthetic. And then it doesn't work well with the body. And that's why pharmaceutical drugs 90% of them have side effects with people. They only work for 10% of people. Why would you want to keep going down this road? Would you go buy a car knowing that 90% of the time you drove off the lot, the car is going to break down or kill you? Why would you keep doing that? No, you would sue the car company, the dealership, and you get your money back. You'd never shop there again, probably. But we just keep lining up like lemmings jumping off a cliff. It's time for working class people to wake up. Like, everything good in this country and around the world does not come top down. It's always bottoms up, period.
Tim,
it's always a bottoms up deal.
I referee, and I am totally shocked. When I was a kid, grew up in the 60s and 70s, some of the days I said, look, there was maybe one person in our high school, maybe two, that were considered overweight. They called them fat, but they really weren't fat compared to today's standards. Today, everyone's inflamed, fat, and it's because of the horrific amount of junk food, all the dyes in it. They're giving these people these electrolyte drinks that get your sports aid. Yeah, and it's full of blue dye and red dye, and it's toxic stuff.
Cancer.
And we're feeding this stuff to this school, and since 1996, the wheat has been sprayed with glyphosate from Roundup, and so we're eating that, and we're killing off our pollinators and the birds. Absolutely insane. But and now look how the thinking's changed. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. I never would have thought 20 years ago we'd be watching what's unfolding before us, but it's because of the toxicity. Do you agree?
Yeah, and it's really simple. Don't believe what me and David say. Go online and type in 3 words: umbilical cord chemical. Umbilical cord chemical. And you can see the same studies I saw going back to 2005 showing that every single child being born, they test for, say, 400 chemicals. They find 71% of what they're looking for, about 250. And 180 of those cause cancer in humans, and 212 cause developmental and brain disorders. Did you hear what I just said? Our young children in the womb and our youngest women that are having these children, supposedly the healthiest of all people, have 180 cancer-causing chemicals in the womb. In fact, what's happened is, like, not only are cancer rates skyrocketing, but now what's happening is children started being born with diabetes, and children were born overweight. Children are being born obese. Now children are being born with cancer. As adults, it's time to wake the F up. I mean, wake up. Start taking responsibility. How do you change this? Oh, I'm a little person. Change yourself. Be a light in a dark room, and maybe you'll help a couple family members around you and a couple people in your community. And as we all do this and we become part of the change by taking responsibility and building our own health, that's how we change stuff. Look at these umbilical cord studies. This is when I sat back in my chair, dude, and I was like, oh my God, we're all polluted. Like, every single person listening to this show right now is polluted at some level. Even me. And I've done all kinds of detox and stuff for 12 years trying to get this stuff out. And it's still coming out. So we have to have this awareness. We don't need to live in fear about it, but just have an awareness about it and say, instead of saying, oh, I've got fibromyalgia, I can't do this, or I got to take my pills, and it's like, no, just say my freaking foot hurts. Now, what am I going to do about it? Like, grab the reins and get some power back. And then that's where everything will start lining up for you. I'm telling you, that's where it's at. And then you'll find somebody like David or myself that's, a chapter 2 ahead of you. And we're so excited because we were in such a mess and now we feel so good. We can't help but want to share this with other people and show you how we did it. It's like, you can do it too. This is what I did. I'll see if it works for you. And guess what? Probably about 95% of the stuff that David and I share will work for you. Maybe a little percentage won't, because everybody's individual. So don't do that part. Throw it away, because you have to go through trial and error. You have to have first-person experience before you actually know if something's real or not nowadays, right? So look at those. The blood doesn't lie, guys. It just doesn't lie. So look into that. I think it'll kind of wake people up that they really need to make some changes. And to wrap this thing up, and if there's any more questions, is that we focus on 3 things. We focus on reducing your stress, because if your nervous system is stressed out, you can't heal. I don't care how bad you want to heal. If you're in fight or flight mode, you cannot heal. David will go into that further. Number two, you have to get these toxic man-made no-see-um chemicals out of your body. Oh, and by the way, those 180 let's just take a moment. Umbilical cord test, 180 chemicals in the womb. They were only looking for 400 chemicals. There's 100,000 chemicals out there, and there's 2,000 new chemicals made every year, and only 1/4% are tested. And they were looking at the blood serum for those umbilical cord tests. The fat and muscle tissue have 500 to 1,000% higher concentrations of chemicals. For those of you that are overweight, this could be why. Your body is putting fat on your body as a storage mechanism to protect you from those chemicals that otherwise kill you. That's how pervasive and how bad they are. So if you're trying to lose weight, does it now make sense that you know this? Like, I got to get the chemicals out of my body. Yeah, that could be the foundational piece to your weight loss, to getting your energy back, to all this stuff. So you reduce your stress, you become aware of chemicals, you get them out on the daily, you develop a lifestyle of daily detoxing. And number three, you flood your body with living nutrition, things that are from Mother Earth, which is where you came from. It's pretty simple. Bacterium, cultured foods, kimchi, sauerkrauts, probiotic yogurts and stuff like that you can make at home, kefirs, sprouts, sprouted nuts, sprouted seeds, sprouted grains, sprouted beans, alfalfa sprouts, broccoli sprouts, radish sprouts, these types of things, fresh herbs. Put these things into your body, get essential oils, these types of things in your life. You won't even believe how fast you can turn your health around.
Well, a lot of great points, Tim, because, as I mentioned earlier, we can't continue this way. $4.3 trillion. Could you imagine if we could cut that by 20%? I know we could cut it by 50%. I think we could cut it by 75%.
What if we put that $4.3 trillion into infrastructure, and we start getting clean air in our cities, and clean water to our children, and clean fresh food to our school systems in the inner city? See, it's about infrastructure, and right now we're about a D in infrastructure in our country. We're turning into a third world country. The bridges are failing, the infrastructure is failing, the roadways are failing, and that's how we basically got our health back. I'll give you how important of a point this is, David. In 1776, we fought the British and bled for freedom. This was the first country that ever had the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, freedom of speech, right to bear arms. And we were a free nation. But guess what? By the mid 1800s, it was slavery, but a new form of slavery. It was called the Industrial Revolution. Many of the women and children were working in these textile factories. In fact, there was the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. Look this up. They would actually lock the women in there because they were afraid they were going to steal stuff from them. And the building caught on fire and burned them all up. 14-year-old little girls got burned up because the company was afraid they were going to steal something from them. Women started getting pissed off and saying, look, this isn't worth living. This is slavery. And so they started fighting back and say, we want more wages. We want safer working conditions. We want our children out of the workforce. We want an 8-hour workday. 4 people were hung in our country fighting for an 8-hour workday. Now, to this day, around the world, May 1st, it's called May Day. It's still celebrated as International Workers' Day based on the 4 Americans that were hung. Shockwaves all over the world. Are you learning? Did you learn that in school? Did your kids learn that in school? No, because they don't want to know the people. They don't want people to know the bottoms up people. We have all the power, right? But what else these women did, and men joined into, is they got the urine and the feces out of the streets. They got the dead horses and cows out of the water supply. They got infrastructure. And from 1900, as an example, David, 14 out of 100,000 people in the turn of the century were dying of measles. Very high rates. By 1948, because of the infrastructure built on the working class movements and the striking from these women and these men, the infrastructure got cleaned up, and 98% of infectious diseases, including measles, was gone. The measles vaccine hit the scene in 1963. So was it Big Pharma that saved you and the pharmacist that saved you and the doctor? No. It was the working class movement putting infrastructure in place. The focus to rebuild this country is you take care of your infrastructure, your gut, you clean it up, and you work on yourself, and you get local, and you start working on with other people, and you help them with their infrastructure. There's actually a website that brings this all together. It's called truthfreedomhealth.com, and it's promoted by Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. So that's a place for people to go where they can get educated. A lot of the stuff, I'm not all the stuff, but I've learned tons from him. He's an MIT. He's got 4 degrees from MIT, and he invented email, and he has an engineering systems approach to all this stuff. But this is where we're at today. So, but we have all the power, but it starts with ourselves, and then act locally, and that's how we change things globally.
Fantastic, folks. Check out Tim's website at chemicalfree.com, right?
Yeah, chemicalfreebody.com.
Chemicalfreebody.com, and also his podcast, Health Hero Show. And he's got some great guests he's interviewed over there. But Tim's right.
Oh, David, I forgot to mention too, I do have some gifts for the listeners, if I may.
Yeah.
So
sure.
when you guys go to chemicalfreebody.com, you start scrolling around, a thing will pop up, and you'll actually get a free ebook called Our Core 4 Secrets, which I thought was kind of hilarious because David has his you have your 4 tenets or whatever they were over there, same as me, but just different, but similar. So that book were the 4 things that I identified that you could do, actionable steps that would produce the most results for you. There's some recipes in that book as well and some guidance. You'll also get a free 30-minute health strategy session with one of our coaches and something else. I think you get like you get a $10 gift card. We have some amazing detox and nutrition supplements. I don't compromise. Maybe I can come back on and talk more about how to choose proper supplementation because I will not compromise for myself. But we give people a double their money back guarantee on all of our stuff because we believe in it. We know it's going to work for 98% of people. So if people want to get a discount, we'll create a code for you. We'll just call it Living Waters. And we'll get it set up for you, David, and they get 5% off the first order. And if they do one of the bundles, they can get a double discount. And then again, we have a double your money back guarantee. So that's what we offer over here. If anything, there's free education over at my podcast. You can start there. We're just here, like I said, we might be a chapter or 2 ahead of you, and we want to help you.
Fantastic, folks. So yeah, check out his website and get the free goodies. And it's all about education. 20 years ago, Tim, I was sick, and I think I shared my story with you, but I had to figure out some way to get well. So I just started reading and trying things and spent a lot of money, $200,000, tried a lot of things. Some things worked, some things didn't. Some things worked a little bit. But when we found colon hydrotherapy, kaboom, Shazam, is like, wow,
yeah,
how powerful is this? And it's so inexpensive to do.
Yeah.
Little shower on the inside, and we just got done with our 10-day healing retreat. I wish you could have been here. I got a couple pictures I'm going to put up on the website. We've seen the colors of their faces change so much.
Yeah.
And their skin, the wrinkles decreased. The skin got brighter and clearer. They're like one guy says, my bloodshot eyes are gone. And another gal, get this, blood sugar levels were 400. She was on metformin. She went off metformin, her decision, didn't even know she did this, the day before she started the cleanse. Blood sugars 260 right now.
Nice. I bet if everybody was, if colon hydrotherapy was mandatory, I'll bet that 4.3 trillion, just the colon hydrotherapy would be cut in half.
Oh, easy.
Like literally.
She said she says, I can sleep for the night. I don't have to get up and go pee every hour. And her face course just colors changed. But yeah, and she lost, I think she said she lost 15, maybe it's more. I don't know. She lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
But that wasn't, that's really not the important. When you come to our 10-day heat, we want to get you well.
Well, her story is awesome because she's doing exactly what I said earlier. What I encourage everybody to do is become a light. She's healing herself, and it's almost impossible. Like when I came back from the Hippocrates Wellness Center, I was going crazy. I'm like telling everybody, like, Charles is going to heal a cancer, and everybody thought I was like nutbag. Like Tim's lost it. 60 days later, I dropped 42 pounds, and they see me, and they're like, what? They just couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. Like, and that just. What had happened to you? They couldn't believe it. And tell me what happened. I'm like, dude, I already told you what happened. They weren't even listening. Yeah. Until they saw the results. So
you got to get good quality food.
It's believing is seeing. I'm telling you, this stuff works.
Yeah.
It's not.
As I did, I did several podcasts during the pandemic, and in the grocery stores, people are hoarding milk and bread and sugars and flours. It's like, you idiots, what are you doing? I mean, they're freezing cheeses because they're so worried that everything's be gone. It's like, this is the worst stuff.
Yeah.
The worst stuff ever to take. Holding on to problems. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So
thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate this opportunity. And I hope that if there's just one person out there that this message resonated with and you're going to get on a different path and change your life, it was worth my time today. And I really appreciate everybody listening.
Thanks so much, Tim. I sure appreciate you. Folks, we went over time, of course, and as we sometimes do when we have great guests on. So you're going to have to go catch the rest of the story over at wholebodydetoxshow.com or just type in Whole Body Detox Show in your podcast app. Will pop up. This is episode 128. I'm pretty sure 128. You'll find us. I'll mention Tim James's name in the title, and check it out. And it's time to be well. Do go to the website and watch our 4 Natural Laws of Healing. Watch that webinar. If you want to reach out to us, the phone number is 208-378-9911. We'll be back next week with another fantastic edition. You have a blessed week, my friends. Stay well.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.